Welcome back to Joe's Politics 101. This is part 2 of the videos that I'm recording for YouTube about the police shootings that's going on throughout the country right now. You know, at the end of the last one I was talking about the Oklahoma thing, 73-year-old man, which was ridiculous. But now I want to talk about police officers training and their interaction with Afro-American people in Afro-American communities. Now, I don't know if any of you that might view this had seen an interview that Charles Barkley did. I don't know if it was on one of the sports networks or with somebody on one of the talk shows, where he talked about the black community and some of the things that go on in black communities that probably have something to do with some of the interaction that you have with white police officers and Afro-American men. Well, you know, everybody had something to say about that. You know, Ferguson saying Charles Barkley don't speak for us, and he don't speak for this, and Charles Barkley is out of the box, and da-da-da-da-da, whatever. Well, let me just say on my behalf and from my opinion, no, Charles Barkley don't speak for you, but he can damn sure speak about you, because he is one of you, like I'm one of you. You know, and I'm not trying to speak for you, but I'm going to speak about you and about things that happen in the communities. You know, and I'm not talking about it from a professor's standpoint, or some doctor's standpoint, or some activist standpoint, or some witness who's not going to tell the whole truth about what happened standpoint. I'm talking about it from my perspective, from my experience in dealing with my own people in my own communities. Now that's where I'm coming from. You know, I'm not coming from some ideology that this is how they are in that community or those communities. I'm coming from this perspective that I know how some people are in our community, our Afro-American communities, as we want to call them, which the majority of our Afro-American communities are not Afro-American communities. They are diverse communities, like I live in now. Everybody wants to say, oh, that's a black neighborhood. It's not a black neighborhood. It's not an Afro-American neighborhood. It's a diverse neighborhood. We have Hispanics, we have whites, we have some foreigners other than Hispanics in our community. So it's not a black community. It's a community. It's what it is, made up of Americans. So let's talk about white police officers first. Let me give you a perspective of a white police officer having to deal with Afro-American people in the so-called Afro-American community. Number one, most white people in general are not used to being around or having to deal with Afro-American people, because we don't hang out like that. You know, we ain't getting down like that. You know, if I got a white friend, the majority of the young people nowadays, if they got a white friend, he's like them. He's jitterbuggish, humbuggish, weedish, want to smoke pot, do whatever, gang banging, whatever you want to call it. He one of the cool cats, like all the other brothers are in the neighborhood. That's how most of the little friends of little Afro-American community white friends are. The average white police officer do not live in a black community or an Afro-American community. They don't have a lot of association with Afro-American people except for on the job. And in the police academies and in their training, they're not taught anything about diversity or about how to deal with people or cultures. They're not taught to separate, your behavior from a white person's behavior or a Hispanic person's behavior or any of that. They were just taught that human behavior is human behavior, period. Bottom line, human behavior is human behavior. But people act different in different areas. People respond to things differently. Whereas you pull a white person over and you explain to them why you stopped them, blah, blah, blah. They said, okay, I don't agree with it, blah, blah, blah. When you pull a black person over with, well, the first reason you stopped me is because I'm black, and I don't think that's right. It's a joke. It's a damn joke. Instead of giving you a driver's license, they ask the person why you stopped me, they tell you why they stopped you, go on and deal with whatever it is you got to deal with. There's got to be an argument because I'm black and you stopped me and you white. It's always got to be that. Now, I don't know what happened in these great, big, huge metropolitan cities and what happens to the celebrities that get pulled over because they black, they say. I don't buy into that bullshit. I don't buy into the bullshit that comedians say. I don't buy into the bullshit that a lot of these activists say. I don't buy into this bullshit about, police officers are just doing this because you're black. Is there really something wrong or is there not? Now, when a white police officer goes into a Afro-American community or a diverse community, you want to call it, however you want to label it. Let's get a couple of things straight. This person isn't normally used to dealing with people. Situations in Afro-American communities, when police officers show up, you start getting crowds. You start getting people gathering in on the police and hollering and instigating and getting involved and trying to get to the police officer. First off, that makes the situation worse than what it was to begin with. Number one, now this police officer, white police officer, has got to worry about his personal safety because all of these people have come around and they're making all this noise. So he calls for somebody else to come and back him up. Well, you get 2 white police officers. You get 3 white police officers. Now you got a situation to where we're going to protect ourselves against you while we trying to deal with this individual. Whereas if all of this stuff hadn't happened around that police officer in the beginning, there may not have even been a scene at all. Okay? So here's what you got to understand about that. Number one, the average white police officer enters into this situation at a certain level of uncomfortability. Okay? And when you add other things to it, it creates a fear. An abnormal situation creates fear. This person can't be comfortable doing his job while he's watching other things. Then when you get more than just that one, now you got a situation to where you've got a force against a possible force while one person is trying to deal with another one. Whereas if you weren't there instigating and aggravating the situation, the individual that they're dealing with would probably be calm, would probably deal with the whole situation in a sensible manner. But because you're there, you pump him up for him to react abnormally to the police. Make no mistake about it. An individual is not going to do the same things that he do if there's a crowd. He's not going to talk as much. He's not going to say as much. He's not going to be boisterous. He's not going to do all of that. You take the crowd away and you got the one-on-one situation that normally don't cause any problems. Now the other problem, we're always crying about, oh, white police officers, white police officers. Where in the hell is the black police officers at? Why in the hell isn't there some black police officers? You ever stop to think about that? That's something everybody should stop and think about. Wiggle your finger, twirl your thumbs and jump, and throw your hands up in the air, slap yourself a couple of times, say, why in the hell is there black police officers? Why ain't no black police officer shooting nobody? You know why? Because there are so few of us. There are so few black police officers that it's off balance. So normally a black police officer is probably working somewhere else because he don't want to even be in his own community because of the way people act in their community. Don't like that dude. I gotta tell you like it is. I'll tell you the truth. It's all kind of criminal shit going on in the black community. That's why there's always some kind of police in the black community. It's always some criminal shit going on in the community. Criminals hiding amongst the good folks. The drug dealers, the gangbangers, the terrorists that's in the communities, running around terrorizing their neighborhood, breaking into people's houses, doing all kind of stupid crap. Yeah, tell it like it is. You may not want to admit it, you may not want to own up to it, but if you just be in the neighborhood, just go in the neighborhood, and just walk around the neighborhood, and watch the 13-year-old, the 14-year-old, the 12-year-old, the 16-year-old walking around high as a kite on marijuana or some shit. Watch the guys standing on the street corner, selling the weed and the crack and whatever else they might be selling. Walk around, just look on the ground and look at all of the blunt wrapper covers and shit you see on the ground. Yeah, there's a lot of criminal shit going on in the black community. That's why there's police in the black community, because there's always some criminal shit going on in the black community. But nobody wants to own up to that. Everybody wants to blame the police for being in the community. Now the good people in the community trying to mind their own damn business, but you got Happy Joe and Go Lucky standing on your street corner in front of your house dealing weed and marijuana and whatever, so you call the police on his ass. And when you see the police, what do? Break and run. Why in the hell are you running from the police? You have a reason for running from the police? Yeah, because your ass is doing something criminal. You know, I get so damn sick of black people trying to defend shit in the neighborhood when they know it's wrong. When they know wrong shit is happening. They want to defend everything that's wrong and then blame it on the police when something go bad. And it don't have to be a white police to come into a community. It can be a black one. You know, I know from experience. Even today, I've been retired for 7 years. Even today, a 7-year-old child or 8-year-old child who was not even born when I was a police officer hate me because I was a police officer. What kind of shit is that? How do you justify that? Because some parent, some sibling, or some uncle done told that child he was a police officer. You ain't never want to get involved with police officers. You teach your kids bullshit, they come up with bullshit. You can't justify that kind of crap. Everything is not the police's fault. I'm about to run out of time here on my recording, so I'm going to have to move on to part 3. Part 3, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the black community and the bullshit that the black community put down and want to blame the police about. Ciao. See you in a minute.